So I thought I'd never say this, but the downfall of Starbucks looks to me like it's coming. And now you're like, why? So I'm reading articles like this online that are saying that the new CEO, the guy that just made a new deal from Chipotle that is being paid so much money, is actually saying we're going to go away with all these good promos they had. We're going to go with all the way with these discounted drinks and all these other things that kind of made me go to Starbucks. And he said that we don't need that because our consumers have enough money to spend the full price. And he's thinking about increasing the price. And now I'm looking at it like, there's going to be an issue with that. And Amazon is in the same particular spot because Amazon is thinking about changing their return policy. And now you're like, why are all these companies doing that? Well, I did some observation. And for me, a good company needs to have three pillars. They need to have a good product. They need to have good customer service, and they need to be available. There needs to be availability. So in the realm of Starbucks, a good product means they offer good coffee, and then you're good, you're happy. And for the customer experience, they'll remake it for you. They have all these kind of things that they're like, hey, don't worry, I'll give you that. Don't even worry about if you don't like it or if it's too sweet or not. We'll remake it for you. And the availability, Starbucks everywhere, so you can pick it up and buy it wherever you kind of want to. So now, where do you think that companies can save the most amount of money? Well, they can't really save on the product or people aren't going to go back there and buy it. There's been companies out there that changed their product and then you're like, oh no, because we can't keep up. So there's been companies, and you've probably been to these restaurants that changed their product and you're like, I can't go there again because I don't like the food anymore. So now what else is there? Customer experience and availability. And we see that some of the Starbucks is closed down already. So what do? They do customer service. That's exactly what Amazon is doing too. So they're saying that, hey, at one point we're just gonna take less, we're gonna do less BOGOs, we're gonna make it harder on our personnel, and we're gonna save money that way. And then the writing's on the wall that Starbucks is gonna be doomed to fail. Because once you are in that downwards spiral and you can't innovate, you cut. That is never a good sign of anything. When you're trying to save costs and do other business practices, you're like, oh, something's not going right. Instead of actually focusing on what the customer really, really wants and doing all these study groups and saying, hey, if we can get the cost per customer out the door, so if the customer's going to spend more money out the door, it's going to increase our revenue, and maybe we need to have more ambiance. Maybe we need to have more sit-down menus. Maybe we need to have more drive-through options affordable so more people will come. And so I looked at who the demographic is. So Starbucks is catering to the upper and middle class. And the middle class is making about $23 an hour. When I used to go to Starbucks, and I used to go a lot, I used to go like once every 2 days because it was affordable and they had good BOGOs. They're like buy one, get one 50% off. They had these great seasoned drinks, and it was affordable, but it was pricier but affordable. And now they're saying they want to increase it some more. And for me, I'm like, can I afford it? Yeah. Am I going to afford it in this economy? Probably not. And in different times, you need to do different things, right? When we're looking at job market, this is a different time than it was in 2019. In 2019, you had a shitty resume and you still got a job. Now, not so much. So when we're talking about all these offers for people that actually needed to buy or that you want to buy, the offer needs to be good. And it just can't be like, oh, we used to go, so we're going to keep going. No, because then you're just not going to get the customer to return. And I'm not talking about on the freeway, you're like, I need something, and there's for miles and miles and miles, there's nothing, because that could be a Starbucks, that could be a Subway, and even though you're like not really into it, you're still going to buy it. And your coffee could cost $8 or $4, it doesn't really matter because there's no availability, so the price goes up, right? And you can say, I'm traveling, so it's all right. But now, when we're looking at it, BOGOs are going away, all these other deals are going away. You got to think to yourself is that the right move? Is that going to deter you? And I'm going to ask you, are you still shopping at the Starbucks? Are you still shopping at these retailers that are increasing prices and that are catering more to the premium brand? Because at the end of the day, it's just coffee. It's not something that gives you an experience through the drive-thru. And that's what I think these people get wrong sometimes when they say, "Oh, we're this premium brand," and you're like, "We're gonna increase the price, and we're gonna just hope that people still buy," and all these other things. Because when you're gonna pay $8-9 for a latte, you charge them extra for oat milk, you charge them extra for this, and then all of a sudden you're like $9 a drink. That's like, yeah, no, because at one point your competitor is going to say, you know what, we're going to offer that same luxury vibe at a way cheaper price. And sometimes perceived value is received value. So then you can just be like, okay, I'm not going to spend that much money on a drink. I can go to Dutch Bros or another company and just say, hey, we're just going to save money and actually get a fairly same or decent or even better drink than Starbucks does. And sometimes I think these CEOs are too much around their own people. What I'm talking about is they're too much around. They're wealthy people. They don't have. So when you're poor and you're rich, there's not a huge overlap in friends. At least I don't think so, because I don't know a lot of very, very rich people. I'm like middle class, and I know a lot of middle class people, but I don't know people that are super broke, like that have nothing, and I don't know people that are hella rich. So I'm like right in the middle class, and you kind of mingle in that middle class. And so when you're like super rich flying private, I don't know how many friends you have, maybe from high school or something, that are like not that wealthy, that are just super poor and that can't afford Starbucks. Because at one point you're like, hey, we're a product for the consumer. We should cater to homeless people, we should cater to middle class, and we should cater to the upper class. And then there's some people that says, when you sell to everybody, you sell to nobody. But you're selling coffee. You're selling a good that everybody kind of wants. That's your target demographic, coffee drinkers. And in the US, most everybody, like here's the statistics, like almost everybody's a coffee drinker. And so it doesn't matter what society class you are, you still drink coffee. And when you're gonna start pricing out all these people, then you're gonna be like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. Because when you're starting to cater to just upper people and upper middle class and rich people, how many times are they gonna buy your product so you can make up for it? Because then you're gonna see only Starbucks in upper schools, nicer areas. And is that the image that you wanna portray as your company when you try to cater to everybody? Because there's so many Starbucks around. And I get it if you're at the airport or if you're somewhere else and you're like, hey, at the airport, you charge $7 a coffee. It's the airport, right? But would you spend $7-8 per cup on a coffee right down the road that costs you 20-30 cents to make at the house? I don't know, because then there are different alternatives, right? You can go to Panera's right here and you can probably get a sandwich and a coffee for cheaper. So now we're going to see companies are going to start competing. And when you're starting to increase prices, you're going to alienate a lot of your target demographic, your audience, just like me. And I haven't really been back. I used to go so many times and I haven't been back. So now the question's going to be is, how is Starbucks going to survive? And when I look at it, they're saying, I know people in the comments are going to be like, there's people that spend $2.50 on a coffee. Yeah, how many are that? Because whenever I go with people, they always get like a latte, something else, espresso shots, and it's $4 or $5. It's never just that, let me just get a black coffee. No, never had that. Not any of my friends, when I went to order a coffee with them, never had that. So just some things to think about. When you are a business owner, you need to really think about those three key pillars that I just said about a good product, good customer service, and availability. And that goes for any restaurant. And when you are a business owner like myself in the career search space, a good product means that your people actually get hired, right? So I take my own business as example, and good customer service, you can jump on a call with one of our coaches at almost any time if you have a disaster, and availability, we're there 5 days a week for you. And so if you are an online business, you need to also follow these principles, because if you're not going to follow these key three principles, you're going to not make it, because it's so competitive out there. And people don't get how crucial these things are and how easy it is to mess them up. Because if you have a good product but bad customer service, people are just going to leave, because it's not worth dealing with the headaches. Because I've been to restaurants in this town that has phenomenal food that the customer service was so bad that I said I'm not coming back just because of the customer service, or they've been rude. So there is crazy things when happens when you don't have customer service. And now when you have availability and you're like, hey, I'm not going to be open from this time to whenever, and that is when your target audience and people want you to be open, so you need to be available. And now we're looking at all these companies that do cuts, that do all these different things to save money, and I always feel like they're saving on the wrong end. Rather than coming up with a way how I can get more out of my customer and say, hey, let me get them to buy something else. It's almost like you need to check what Walmart and Amazon and all these people are doing and say, hey, do you want to upgrade? Do you want to upgrade for $1 extra? Instead of pre-ordering it, they just say, hey, do you want to upgrade for $1? And do you want to do stuff like that? Or hey, do you want to add on a muffin for $2.99 instead of $3 or $4? Because if you're not going to get a muffin or whatever they sell you at Starbucks, you got that customer to spend an extra $2. That's not going to cost you that much. And so that's what these airlines do. And you got to start looking at, hey, do you want to upgrade? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And once you're starting to look at it and you do some tests, you run some tests at the airport, or you run some tests at some different areas where you say, hey, let's implement this strategy where we're going to ask people if they order with the mobile app, if they want to upgrade to a venti for half the money that it would cost them to actually get them to buy the venti, or even try to just give them a little discount and see if they were then upgrade, because it's better to extract 49 cents more out of your customer than just not make the sale. Because how much is it going to cost you? How much is it going to cost you on an ice drink to upsell them and just add more ice? So the volume and the amount is probably the same. So there's probably some equation, some math equation that you can do to do it like that. And for the consumer, it's not going to hurt you too much to spend $1 more, but you're going to get that feeling of, yeah, this would have costed me $5.70, but now instead of costing it $5.70, I only paid $4.90. So you might want to go back, because we all know that when you get a discount or you kind of got a deal, you're like, oh man, I love it, and makes you want to go back. And you gotta be customer focused nowadays in order to kind of make it. So if you haven't, please like and subscribe to this video. If you like content like this, let me know. Shoot me an email. Think about joining the community. It's $2, and it would just help the channel out, be fun. We have fun discussions. There's videos of just for you guys, for the channel members. So back to the video. Yeah, when you are thinking about, should I increase my prices as your own small business? See how you can get them to upgrade. See how you can do what airlines been doing for years. Offer better experience. Offer them no wait in line. Do what Sixt rental car does when you go pick up a rental car. So I was at the airport and they say, oh, platinum members, walk right up. And then you get that. It's like, it's a better experience. You upgrade them. And then you're like, hey, I got a complimentary upgrade. And if you start treating your customers like that, you're going to have a line out the door. And the question is, how are you going to monetize it? And how are you going to treat all these people to a good product while you keep your core customers and you get new ones, because that's how you grow. That's how you get a tribe. That's how you're starting to get a religious following where people are just gonna love, dig it, and they're gonna go there all the time. But when you're gonna say we're gonna stop doing the buy one, get one half off and all these other things, you're gonna alienate people, and people that have been going all the time are gonna be like, nah, I'm not gonna be going, it's not worth it to me anymore. So yeah, keep your core customers and make those happy, and then expand. Get one group of here and then slowly expand and take up market share. But when you already have the market share, but you're losing it, you got to go back to the roots and offer good quality, good customer service, and all these other things. But hey, what do I know? Just small business owner. I don't run a huge organization. I look at it from my perspective, what I would do if this was my business, and just some food for thought. Because at the end of the day, there's numbers in play, there's politics, there's all these other things that you need to take into consideration that might work out, that might not. And then you have the board that you got to fight. So yeah, it's not easy, but it's doable. So yeah, it's really nice day in Las Vegas. Heading to Florida in a week. Gonna go to Arizona. My family's here. We're gonna check out some old mining town. I'll take my camera. We'll record a little bit. See some stuff in Arizona. And it's gonna be fun. Gonna travel a little bit. Look at some different stats. Look at some different cities. And how did I come up with rental car company? Because I just rented a car, my family's here, and I needed a 7-seater, so I rented a minivan. And that's how I know customer service does pay off, because you just deal with it. It's nice to have. So I rented this little minivan right here, and the customer service was nice. Loved it. I had the American Express card, so I got the Hertz Platinum membership, the President's Club, and then I transferred it to 6 rental car, and then you get preferred treatment. And I rented this car so I can go to Phoenix, Arizona, coming up on Saturday. So yeah, I love you guys. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.